magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future. Transformers Slag Podcast. What's up, everybody? How we all doing this Saturday night? It's not a surprise Thursday stream. It's a Saturday night. It's a Transformers Slag Podcast Center live stream main event. I'm your host, Proto Man. I am the face that runs this place. I'm the voice you hear Monday to Friday. It is Saturday, and we're going to be talking Transformers. We're going to be talking a lot of Transformers, actually. Like, we got stuff. Man, do we got stuff. A lot of stuff got revealed today through the MCM London Comic Con. We have a new reveal exclusive today for everybody that I'm really excited about through the podcast. We got a lot. Let's just say we got a lot. How we all doing? Who do we got in the chat today? We got Mike Prime 21, new face, YouTube member. Nice to see you, Mike. Thank you for joining the YouTube membership. We got Patrick Brown. We got Star Warrior, one of our patrons. We got JR Mina, also one of our patrons and YouTube member. Ash, one of our Patreon people. We got Prime a Time, also one of our YouTube members. Rudy Mack, Will Murphy, James Hopkins. Ashnood is back in the hood. Decepticitty, one of my patrons. If I miss any of my patrons, I apologize. Everything is flying by. Who else do we got? T-Formers 2002, Brainstorm. I want to make sure. Black Crow, haven't seen you in a couple weeks. How you doing, man? Timmy K is here. Will Murphy, I already mentioned. People are piling in now. How we all doing? Oh, you changed your name, Mike. Ah, that's why. That's how it goes down. Mayoral Fabrication, what's up? So, we got a lot to cover today. We got some updates from stuff we talked about earlier this week. Just a lot. We got a lot. Guillaume, what's up? Princeton, what's up? I don't even know where to begin because we got quite a few things to cover. And we also have a big reveal today. This will be the last live stream for the week anyhow, because next week, probably there won't be a live stream. I'm going to be at TFcon Baltimore next week over that weekend. I don't know if I'll be doing a live stream or not. We will see. I'll see how I feel. Last time I was in TFcon Florida, Orlando, whatever it was. Yeah, I got a haircut. Got to be professional when you're talking the biz. But yeah, so we will see. We'll see. We're going to play that one by ear. There will be a live stream at some point next week, during the week leading up to TFCon. But we will see. So let's jump into it. We got quite a few things to cover, some updates. Let's start, of course, with BS Prime with the I guess that's £2 super chat. Was up, BS Prime. Thank you for joining our little chat today, and thank you for the super chat. Yes, I got a haircut. Actually went by the Proto sister's house. She was working on some YouTube stuff on her end, and got a haircut in the process when I was in the area. So yeah, gonna be looking nice and slick. Tom Laney, what's up, man? So let's talk about Super 7 quickly. So we got an update finally on this thing. It's called the Wrecking Crew Devastator. It's an homage to his Diaclone color scheme when it was the Construction Robo Vehicle set. And yeah, 6-inch Super 7 item. Comes in a box in this case instead of an oversized blister like the traditional Devastator that we got through them in that 6-inch kind of thing. And it's going to be $25. Look, it's Super 7. It's Super 7. What could I say? You know, I like some of the stuff they do. Some of the other stuff they do, I just kind of wish it was cheaper. Look, I dig the Diaclone stuff. I could respect that. It would have been cooler if it was in like a super Diaclone homage kind of box, like the original box set. Mind you, that came with individual units and in vehicle mode put all over the place. But I dig it. Some of their stuff, again, doesn't make sense. Their VHS stuff that they're putting out there is a little overpriced, but this, hey, $25, fancy box, 6-inch figure based off of a Diaclone color scheme. I'd put it in my collection. I'd put it in my collection at 25. That's not too terrible. Pre-orders for this drop right now through both Preview Magazine. Your local comic book stores could also order it directly if they have Preview, as well as the Preview Magazine and Super 7 Direct. $25 will be shipping out December 2024. So yeah, also an update to, might as well whip these out, giggity. The Transformers trading card set through Dynamite. It has concluded the Kickstarter and they crossed the 1,000 backer mark and has made over $250,000 from the originally expected 19,000. Yep, they absolutely crushed it. There's going to be a whole bunch of stretch goals that were broken. So there's going to be a whole bunch of free stuff that people who back this will also get. There's a lot of cool stuff that was involved with this. Whoever backed this, congratulations with all the cool stuff that you got. And congratulations to Dynamite. And, it was fun partnering with you guys to promote this. They knew that I was a big trading card guy and they figured it'd be something it'd be cool to talk about. And again, thank you for Mariano, the big boss from Dynamite, for coming on the show twice to talk about it and talk the biz and stuff. I wish them all the luck in the future, and definitely there will be more to come in the future. So stay tuned for that. We'll keep you posted here on the Transformer Slag podcast. If you did not back the Kickstarter, there will be a retail version of the packs of these cards and stuff with chase cards and sketch cards and signed cards and all kinds of cool stuff that you could hunt for. And, get yourself a cool Hot Rod card too. That's how it rolls. Let's talk about our big boys that went up on pre-order. Talk about opportunities to get stuff that was going for stupid money in the secondary market. If you missed out on Scorponok during the Big V in 2020, or if you missed out on Omega Supreme during 2019, both of these guys went up on pre-order at a little bit of a markup from what they originally were, about $50 from their original MSRP, but still definitely a lot better than what the secondary market was asking. Scorponok and both Omega easily, as of a couple of weeks ago before these were known, were selling between $350 and $400 American. So now you have an opportunity to pick these guys up at a much more honest price. And again, let's be real, Titan classes, they always age well in terms of value. Look at what Metroplex is going for. Look what Triptychon is going for. Maybe the only one that's going to be hurt a little bit might be Devastator due to recent reveals, but maybe not so much. We'll see. But these always have aged quite well in value. So if you did not pick these up, here's your second and or third chance now to pick them up at a decent price, and you won't regret it. Maybe the space in your house might regret it. Maybe your wife might regret it, or your girlfriend when it takes up the space that should be the couch in your living room. But I guarantee you will not regret it. Definitely not. Let's talk Transformers 1. Digital drop happened a couple days ago. So if you want to watch Transformers 1 digitally, it is available. Otherwise, the physical version will be available December 17th, 2024. Both the Steelbook version and the basic DVD and Blu-ray is available for pre-order on Amazon right now and will be shipping out, as I said, December 17th, 2024. But if you want to watch it now in beautiful HD, it is available through Amazon Prime TV. Was it Apple TV, I think, or Apple Movie or whatever they call it there. All the different streaming services that you pay to rent or pay to buy are available online. Go check it out. I know a lot of people have been making clips and stuff in nice HD. There's a whole bunch of extras too that I've heard are pretty awesome. So go check that out right now when you get the chance. And now let's get into the MCM London Comic Con. So last we talked, we only had the early like crazy leak of Ape Link, and now we got some brand new images of the big boss monkey, the big muscle monk, and he's looking really good. It reconfirms now the accessories. I guess he comes with one less accessory now because the Optimus Primal also came with an axe, where this one they resculpted Primal's swords and gave him the battle blades that he had in the movie on his arms. It has the two chain pieces. It has the transwarp cell, which is now like or the transwarp key in this case, as it was called, It's now in a complete orange as opposed to of a more orangey kind of, dare I say, more charcoal black that the Primal came with. So if you didn't pick up the Optimus Primal, you're kind of getting more or less the same thing minus one accessory and a much more cooler character, in my opinion. Some people were already showing that, you could pop off the head and put it on the Primal. So if you already own the Primal and you buy this one, it also kind of works as a battle mask flight mode. So pretty cool. Again, I'm leaning more on Ape Link just because I have a hard on for the BotCon stuff, and I love Ape Link, and I kind of have a little bit of a bias to that because I love the BotCon stuff and I love their characters. And I believe it was Jesse who created that one all those years ago from Hasbro Copy. So very cool, very very cool. I dig it. And yeah, but and like I said, if somehow this isn't your bag, YOLO Park did their own version of the robot mode. It doesn't transform, but it does give you an idea of what potentially you could also get in terms of a robot mode. But I think it's cool. I know some people are kind of on the fence, and it being a leader class is also a bit more of an ask in terms of value. But at the end of the day, I still think it looks pretty rad. Then we have, here we go, some grainy screen images here of some of the other MCM Studio Series reveals that are going to be all coming out in 2025. We're going to start, of course, with Q. So this is going to be Deluxe Class Dark of the Moon Q. I mean, the best takeaway from this is for anyone who's wanted to own this character, now you don't have to pay $150. Q was one of those figures that and I've talked about this many times on the podcast, but I'll cover it here again for those who are new and who don't know the history. Dark of the Moon's toys did not sell very well. It came out around the same time that Skylanders and Toys to Life really started to pick up in the retail market. So all of a sudden, children stopped buying Transformer toys and started focusing on, Spyro and his adventures and stuff like that with Skylanders. And as a result, Dark of the Moon toys sold poorly. The last wave was canceled, but a lot of it was still already made in production from the factories, so they ended up in China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and some areas in Australia. And as a result of that, Q was one of those, along with Soundwave. There was even a blaster we were supposed to get, a movie blaster. It would have been so cool. They showed it at HasCon. It looked so nice. But as a result, that Dark of the Moon, I think it was called the Dark of the Moon Mech Tech, uh, that Q went for like stupid money. I think it was called Wheeljack. They gave the trademark to it at the time. So now we have one that's way better. Doesn't have a gimmick, and yeah, it's going to be significantly cheaper. So if you were someone that's sitting on that queue, maybe sell it before this hits, and you could kind of get your money before the entire market shifts in another direction, because that happens way too often with Transformer movie toys. You have like, oh, this is the best version, and it's all funneled into a Dark of the Moon character toy or a Revenge of the Fallen toy, and then the Studio Series comes and puts an end to that. So stay tuned for that. Then, of course, this is the no surprise one. We got the Transformers Voyager class Studio Series War for Cybertron Gamer Edition Ironhide. No surprise. Again, taking that Ratchet that we already got, gave it, the tooling that's needed. Two characters that are literally tied to the waist when it comes to that. So no big surprise. The only thing that we know is, okay, he comes with a cool big gun. Kind of looks like the gun that came with Starscream, I'll be honest with you, but I think I need better photos to see that one. But kind of looks like the Starscream gun that the Voyager War for Cybertron video game Starscream came with. But pretty cool. Hopefully he comes with other weapons too, but very nice. Then we got this one here, got some controversy, and I actually had to, like, I couldn't even check myself. So, leader class, Age of Extinction Optimus Prime. Now, this looks a lot like the Age of Extinction Optimus Prime Hasbro sent me all those years ago in the promo box. And it's very hard to see because that figure wasn't very good. It's in the corner of my Age of Extinction display, like, and I can't even reach it anymore. It's just like in the back corner with all its chrome pieces. I swear, correct me if I'm wrong, people, did they just take that Age of Extinction toy from all those years ago and got rid of the chrome and just put it out there? Very weird. Very, very weird. What's up, Aaron? Aaron, I'm going to talk about Aaron's beautiful segment he did yesterday. We'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. It's very odd. I've seen third party do a very good job of that design, so it's not like it was a design that was impossible to do. It's just they probably just went a much more affordable direction. So it is what it is. It is what it is. We will see. We will see. But I am not feeling this at all. I'm quite disappointed, really, because in all honesty, I had the original and I just kind of put it in the corner of the Age of Extinction display. Not feeling that one. Then we got an interesting one here. We got this Bumblebee. Now, this was the mystery item. It's like, oh, hey, deluxe class Bumblebee based off of the Bumblebee movie. What's the story with that? Well, what's very interesting is because a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a reissue of the Bumblebee movie one that we got from Studio Series. But when you do a side by side, it looks like it's a brand new tooling. The leg tooling is different, the chest is different, and of course, the way that the even the molding of the plastic, just look at the inner thighs and the legs. So the way that the parts are done, so I think this is a brand new tooling of Volkswagen Bumblebee movie. So does this open up the possibility that we could get Studio Series characters redone 5 years after the fact that they've been done? Because again, Bumblebee movie debuted side by side with the Studio Series line and got a lot of love and attention, but maybe it was just the early design hiccups of that line and we have a new crew of people in a new era. So very interesting, this one. I'm very curious what this means. We didn't get a lot of answers, but they did say that Studio Series is also going to be opening up to doing repaints of previously existing molds for stuff. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. Sorry, I got to get me some water. We're going to be talking a lot today, but yeah, I'm very curious with this one. Am I interested in it? Not really, but it's more the implication of what we might get in the future from this that might be very, very inquisitive to me, if anything else. And then, of course, we have reissues. So, one of them being a much desired reissue by many of the fans, originally a Target exclusive, buzzworthy Bumblebee, Rise of the Beasts, Voyager class Optimus Prime, now getting a mass release and reissued through the Studio Series line. We got the Jazz here from the Studio Series 86. People were very confused by that one, going like, really? Didn't he get already reissued once? So here's the story with that. I kind of like did a little bit of a deep dive. Jazz's trademark was actually refreshed in 2019. It was around the time of when they did the Cyberverse TV series. They did like a Jazz one-step changer. I believe he also got a tiny turbo changer around that time, and that was in 2019. Trademark had expired and has since been refreshed during that stretch of 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. During that stretch, we had Toxitron Jazzes. We had, I know I'm forgetting stuff, obviously, like some reissues. We had the 4-packs, the 5-packs. So they did a lot with that Jazz. Trademark has since expired. They have refreshed it. And one way to keep it alive, if you don't have any plans to do anything with Jazz in the next 4 years, just reissue a product again. He's a very popular character. Every time they put one out, he seems to always sell well. And I mean, I'll be honest, it's a pretty good toy. I mean, is it the best color scheme you could get of him? I do not know. I think maybe the Autobot multi-pack that came with Hound might be the slightly better version. But at the end of the day, I mean, still pretty good. Maybe this will be the Autobot multi-pack one. Maybe these images are misleading and we're getting the better color scheme one for the single pack. Who knows? And then, of course, the Shockwave. The Shockwave needed a reissue. His secondary market prices were hitting that $100 to $150 mark. So, yeah, that's just Hasbro going like, all right, let's look at some of our Studio Series items and how much they're going for right now, 2 years after the fact and retired out of retail. Oh, okay, we need to reissue that one. So, and that's kind of what happened there. So we shall see. We shall see with those. But definitely the Optimus is a good news for a lot of people who couldn't get it because originally, again, store exclusive, Target. You know, when it did show up in places that didn't have Targets like Canada and the UK, they were in places like GameStop that maybe get one case if you're lucky. So it works out. It works out fine by me. And then, of course, again, a reminder tomorrow, which we'll probably be doing a podcast segment tomorrow because of how busy it's going to be. We got the 1027 event. Devastator will probably be revealed if Nate from marketing have anything to say about it. And also, we got a update from JT Prime 17 because one of the items we didn't see at the MCM London Comic Con was that of the Widowmaker. And JT Prime said that he saw the Widowmaker and it has been renamed now to KSI Widow. That's the name of it. Deluxe Class Studio Series, Age of Extinction, KSI Widow, and it will be called KSI Widow because Widowmaker, the trademark, is currently used by Overwatch right now. So a little bit of update on that one here on the Transformer Slag podcast. So there's that too. There's that also. So there's that news. We also have one more reveal, but first let's talk about some sponsor stuff and see who else is popping in the chat. We got one or two Hasbro people coming in. I just saw. But yeah, so let's talk about first some sponsor stuff like the brand new Sludge, which actually just showed up in the mail today. Pre-orders are available right now for Sludge on symbiotestudios.com. The vanilla version without the pop-out eyes, which was a Comic-Con exclusive. Then, of course, we have the toy accurate Grimlock version 3 also showed up in the mail. Looking good. I'm wearing one of their shirts too. The Grimlock Me Want to Munch Metal. So that's also available. Pre-orders are available right now and will be shipping out, like 2 days from now, not even. So go check that out. They also have their brand new Bumblebee reissue due to popular demand, their Halloween kit that works on most of your Symbiote Studio stuff, and everything else that is not sold out here. And more stuff still to come on this multi-year plush initiative from Symbiote Studios, giving you the first ever ongoing nonstop Transformers plush line. And these dudes are huge. I mean, just look at that Bumblebee. That should give you an idea. These aren't a tiny plush series. They're very, very cool. And then, of course, you got all the other Hasbro brands and everything like that. And, of course, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. We have a brand new segment that will be coming next week before TFcon, so stay tuned for that. We have a really cool back and forth segment talking about the robots in disguise, so stay tuned for that one. If you have not subscribed to the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer yet, I suggest you go do so. And Aaron did a fantastic yesterday. I mean, I couldn't do it justice myself any more better than someone that actually worked with him. Aaron did a fantastic tribute segment to John Warden on his live tab. So go to the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer and check out the live tab on his latest live stream as of yesterday, talking about John Warden, the industry, what's going on with Hasbro right now, and everything like that. The only thing that Aaron didn't mention, and it doesn't really matter because it wasn't too big a deal, was John also had a good 6-year stint with the Pokemon brand with Hasbro, and he was working with the Pokemon brand right at its peak popularity. So we're talking a lot of the importing of the Tomy PVC figures and the larger figures and the gametic aspect of it that only existed in the American ports, like the little Game Boy thing that shot the little bead and the little pogs that came with them and all the other stuff. So John had if you're a big Pokemon person, uh, that's very important. And Pokemon will be coming up in a moment. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. And of course, this weekend, well, not this weekend, next weekend, I'm bad with numbers, but November 1st to the 3rd. Although technically the 2nd and 3rd, although Aaron will be walking around on the 1st. Man, these numbers. TFcon Baltimore. Aaron Archer will be there as a guest. Go check him out. Get some really cool art. Get some signatures. Harass Aaron. Find out his home phone number. Find out his home address. Bother him. Play music outside his window. All of those things. Don't do any of those things. Don't do any of those things. But either way, go get some art from him. Get his cool art book, The Art of Transforming Robots, Volume 3, 36 full color pages on glossy paper throughout. Very, very cool. Nice stuff there. And of course, his Posca paintings. How could you not get the Posca paintings? He is going to have, Aaron, how many did you make? Like 40 at this point? 50 for the show? You've been a machine recently. Brainstorm 2002 with the super chat. When are we getting a new toy Armada a toy of Armada Demolisher? I need a new toy of my favorite Tank Man. You know what? With all the love that Armada is getting from Hasbro, it would not surprise me if sooner or later we get some updates of those guys. Especially like Demolisher is one of those trademarks that I have to check how it is right now. But at least in the case of like Cyclonus from Armada, I mean, they got to do another Cyclonus sooner or later, and they're not just going to do purple, purple sweep dude. He's not even a sweep technically. Let's say a tracker, purple tracker dude. They're going to at some point do old helicopter from Armada, and considering that maybe mini cons might be in the future, dare I say, 32 and counting, Aaron. Goodness gracious. There's going to be a lot. So if you go to Aaron Archer's table, you're going to have a lot of choices. Have a lot of choices. Or maybe even some commissions too. Make some money on the side also. Either way, check it out, yo. Archermonster.com/shop will probably be closed down during that weekend, rightfully so. But go check out his stuff. And again, go check out the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer for a really good segment. After this one, after you're done listening to my stupid voice, go check out that one. I think Aaron went for like a good hour and a half talking about his John. He had some cool slides that even I never saw before. Very cool stuff. But it's time. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Because it's time for an exclusive reveal today. Are you guys ready? I have to make sure you guys are ready. So we have an exclusive reveal today. TFcon exclusive. It terrifies me because I know it's going to sell out and people are going to get angry. And there's nothing I could do. There's nothing I could do about it. We could only make so many, and we make them cheap so that because they're cheap, then people buy. I have to always make it one per person because I feel bad because I want everyone to be able to get it. Roll the clip. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Red and blue has arrived. Red and blue has arrived. Who is red? Who is blue? It don't matter. It's red versus blue. I want to give a shout out to Bint Studios for some absolutely fantastic designing of the GameBot cartridge, as well as a humongous shout out to Damon Bat for the amazing package art homaging the original Pokemon games. Using the Beast Wars Aaron Archer Dragon Megatron in Charizard's place, and using the Snap Trap, or Turtler, as he was called in Master Force, as Blastoise. Beautiful stuff. These will be sold in a 2-pack at TFcon Baltimore and are limited to 75. in the world. Oh boy, and it's going to be a goddamn disaster because people are going to go crazy. They are one per person. You get a 2-pack, but it's 1 2-pack per person. I cannot sell more than one to each person. People are going to scalp them or buy a whole bunch. I know how this always goes. So stay tuned for that here on the Transformer Slag podcast. If possible, maybe I'll be able to make more for future TF cons. I don't want to make that promise just yet. These take time to be produced with the decos and everything. But yeah, big shout out to everyone. Damon Bat will be at TFcon Baltimore. He will have prints of the art here if you're interested to. So check that out at his booth. And yeah, so again, TFcon exclusive. Check that out next week in Baltimore. Come by the Aaron Archer booth, buy some beautiful art from Aaron, pick up the exclusive, enjoy life, and as always, you got to catch them all. Yeah, yeah. And that's that. And also how that'll work is if you have been a patron for more than a year, we will work something out to be able to ship one out to you after the fact. We'll like after TFCon Baltimore, we'll work something out for patrons to be able to get one shipped out to you. But you have to be a patron for more than a year. That's kind of the rule. I always like to reward my patrons for being, loyal fans of the podcast, and same thing with my YouTube members. But again, we'll work that out afterwards. So these scale with bots. That's kind of what I want to go with. I want to continue the bots legacy with these, and they scale with that. If we made them too big, you might get into some all kinds of other production issues and stuff. I wanted to keep these as cheap to afford as possible so that anyone could be able to afford them at a convention. The other TFCon exclusive, which is the Energon Nemesis Optimus Prime thing, yeah, that's like what, $230. So $30 for your childhood done as a Transformer. Something I've been very excited to do for a while now. So stay tuned for that. Again, TFCon Baltimore next week. I'm glad you guys enjoy it. I'm glad the hype was worth it. So we will open it up to super chats right now. And yeah, we're going to jump into all of it. It'll be 30 for the pair. You get both of them for 30. And then um, on top of all that, Damon will also have the art available in the dealer room if you are interested to. Nice posters of the art instead of it just getting very small here, you know, of one of Aaron Archer's creations all those years ago, the awesome Dragon Megatron. So check that out. Again, if you are a patron who is interested, please contact me through Patreon. That is the best way to get to me. Don't contact me through Discord or Twitter or Instagram or any of that. Doesn't work like that. I need Patreon. That way I could link that to an account and then keep tally of everything. You know. So very, very cool. But yeah, so we'll open it up to some super chats. We got a good hour and 15 left in the live stream. We'll talk about a whole bunch of stuff. There was just a whole bunch of stuff happening this week. I didn't pick up much in terms of stuff. Just been kind of getting ready for TFCon, getting ready my autograph stuff, getting ready, obviously, these, just preparing for everything and just, it is what it is. The only thing I did get was I went to my local comic shop. Shout out to Kevin, who wasn't in today because he was out doing consignment stuff. And he had this in a 2-pack in a Ziploc bag together. I already have the Retro Roto Mega Man, but I didn't have the Elec Man. So I was like, oh, damn, $5? Okay, for the pair? Yeah, that's good for me. So picked that up. That was really cool. Otherwise, not much else was going on. A lot of times my local mall here, because whenever Halloween falls on a weekday, which I believe it falls on a Thursday, what the mall will do is they kind of do like a Halloween for the kids during the day, so they could go around to all the stores and get free candy. So that was kind of cute to go check that out too and everything. So very, very cool. YouTube members are also eligible, but you have to be a YouTube member for more than a year. That's all it is. And Patrick Brown, you've been a YouTube member for 13 months, so you count. You just have to contact me, and we have to confirm your identity and stuff with that. So I wish YouTube membership had a messaging system. That's why I always tell people, like, it's kind of good to double dip in two different areas. You could have Patreon and YouTube membership, and that way you get kind of both the benefits and communication and the Discord and everything. It is what it is. Black Crow Vengeance Proto, what is your opinion on the War for Cybertron Autobot Soldier? I didn't like that the fact that NYCC didn't show it. I was excited to see it. Yeah, well, I think that they're obviously saving some stuff, much like the KSI Widowmaker. They're probably maybe saving to have one or two items outside of the Devastator to show at the 1027. Or alternatively, what I think will probably happen is we'll probably see just Devastator, and then like BMAC or whoever, or maybe Nate will do like a new Through to the Space Bridge, and they'll tease the 1027 teasers for all the other stuff. But I think it's going to be probably, I mean, my guess is they got to do something maybe with that Sideswiper barricade mold and turn that into, you know, another character. I guess that's one way. I mean, all we know, it's a deluxe class, so it's got to be a deluxe thing. So it can't be like taking the Seeker Jets and turning that into something. So it is what it is. Let me just check what else. I don't want to miss anything. If you're a YouTube member, the green names who have been for more than a year, probably Instagram might be the best way to contact me. Um, Usually that would probably be the best. Even that one's kind of like I always say Patreon is just, I like Patreon's messaging system. It's the easiest. It's easiest to confirm identity and emails and stuff like that, and there's no fraud. I mean, I felt so bad. I don't know if you guys are familiar with soccer. Uh, Messi was not Messi. Was it Fernando? Ronaldo was looking for a fan. He wanted to give him his shirt. See, he saw this old man who was crying, holding his camera, watching Ronaldo, and Ronaldo wanted to find out who that fan was and send him a shirt. And then a whole bunch of fans on Twitter were making fake accounts of that old man, contacting Ronaldo, going, "Hey, it was me. Hey, it was me." And it's so cringy. And I just, I hate it when people do that kind of stuff. Someone wants to do something good, and then a whole bunch of people try to take advantage of that. But so that's why I have to confirm identities and stuff and everything. That's why I like Patreon. It keeps it all centralized and everything. Uh, Lizard Sphere X found the JP Jeep. Oh no, I just missed it. Everything got pushed down. Found the JP Jeep at Ollie's for $20. Wow, that's a great price, Lizard Sphere. That's good to know. Okay, so shout out to Lizard Sphere. Go get if you have an Ollie's nearby, go get the Death of Newman as a Transformer for $20. Yo, I pay that. That's really good. I remember I bought the T-Rex one for also nothing. That thing went for like nothing too. So very good, very good. Very good find. Darkstar777 with the gold super chat for $10. Thank you, Darkstar777. I hope we get Armada Jetfire and Overload. Also hope Armada Optimus Prime cartridge is cool from Orlando. Thanks for it. No problem, man. We had very few of those. When we went into Orlando, I had, no joke, maybe 15 of those. I made a small little print run for Orlando. I didn't have enough time to make more, so that's all I had. And we just brought a whole bunch of those bootleg Hot Rod figures, which ironically were very well received. Very well received. I think I sold, God, if I had to crunch the numbers, I'd have to say I probably sold like 60 of those, maybe more than that. I sold a lot of them. I know like some people would buy like 5 or 6 in a sitting. So I'm glad you guys enjoy. Again, when I do the shows, I always want to have at my little spot next to Aaron, I always want to have a little cheap item for you guys. That way, look, hotel's going to cost you money, flight's going to cost you money, eating that weekend's going to cost you money. Look, I get it. It's going to be an expensive weekend. And then, oh, we didn't even talk about getting into the actual convention itself, like entry to the con. So I get it. It's going to be a costly weekend. I want it that you have some kind of souvenir that's exclusive to the show that you could enjoy and keep it cheap, because some of those exclusives that are at TFcon are the price of one night of your hotel. So I always try to have a small little item. I don't make money on these things. Just to let you know, whatever I charge is like the manufacturing cost. So I just try to keep it as cheap as possible, low run, so it doesn't cost me a lot of money. That way I don't end up with extras or anything. I always try to find this nice, like, sweet spot number that's like just enough that it'll sell out, but not enough that I get stuck with a whole bunch of them either. You know, See, Fawnhart bought 7 hot rods. Thank you, Fawnhart, for buying 7 hot rods. Yeah, I brought a whole bunch of like multicolored bootleg hot rods because I was just like, you know what, people will dig that. And it was a mold that was very tough to get because it was an exclusive MicroMaster mold from, oh, my box is in the way, but Star Convoy over there and Hot Rod over here. But you know, so I figured, people would dig that, get a blue hot rod, a pink hot rod, a green one, you know, all the colors of the rainbow were available at the time. And that was a shout out to Sir Toys, who hooked me up with a bag of them. He was like, "Hey, Proto Man, do you want like a giant Ziploc bag of hot rods? You just have to pay shipping." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll bring them to TFCon and we'll have a little something for everybody." You know? So that was cool. Shout out to him, very cool guy. Dark Star 77. It was my first TFCon. It was an awesome experience. Well, I'm glad you liked it, my man. I'm glad you liked it. You know what? Like, I can't stress it enough. Like, Transformer conventions are like a drug. They really are. Because, like, I was a hardcore Transformer fan my whole life, but it really, when I got the internet back in 1995, 96, again, I'm an old man, you know, I'm an old man. When I got it in 95, 96, and discovered the online fandom and that close-knit community, I like, it leveled it up. Then I became like a super crazy fan. But it wasn't until I did my first BotCon back in 2001. I always look over right at that old brochure when I went. When I did that first BotCon, that changed everything. Then I was like, oh my God, it's this big, crazy world of all these people and the guests and the voice actors and the designers and the exclusives and every toy imaginable. And then, oh my God, there's like guys from Japan. This is where I met guys like Azusa and Tomoya-san and Naoto-san and Sakamoto-san, all these guys from Japan that come all the way here just to like sell Transformer toys and their exclusive items and their rare items. Oh my goodness. Never miss a chance to go to a Transformer convention, be it a BotCon, a TFCon, a small like local show. I'm not going to name one of them because I ended up making enemies with them because they bootlegged my stuff. Terrible. They bootlegged my stuff and then sold it as exclusives, but that which shall not be named. But if you could do a convention, do it. Do it. There's always cool opportunities, always cool opportunities. You can meet people. The one cool thing is you walk into a room where 100% every person in this room likes the same thing you do. You could go to San Diego Comic Con, 150,000 people at those shows, and maybe 2% of them know who Bumblebee is. Maybe. But you do like a TFCon, a BotCon, you're going to find a whole bunch of cool people that like the same thing. You could literally go up to some guy and go, "Who's your favorite Constructicon?" And it was very, very fun. Very fun meeting everybody. I love the USA shows. I don't want to knock TFCon Toronto, but TFCon Toronto has been around for 20 plus years, and it's a much more Canadian, for lack of better words, much more Canadian convention, much more smaller, close knit. That some people see that as good, some people see that as bad. But it's where when you go to the USA shows, they're big and bombastic. I mean, look at the guest lineup for TFcon Baltimore. My goodness, there is a lot of crazy stuff going on there. You know, there's a lot of crazy amount of guests, and like there's gonna be cool exclusives. There's gonna be tons of dealers there. I mean, it's hype. It is going to be hype. It is going to be really cool. Aaron's going to be there. Get some cool autographs from him. Get some cool art from him. One of a kind art you could get from Aaron. Forget my exclusives. There's 75 of these. Aaron's Posca paintings and Aaron's art are one of a kind. You know, so a lot of great stuff. A lot of great stuff there. So definitely, if you get an opportunity to go to a TFCon, and all you have to do really is just budget, you know, if you work even a minimum wage job and you get at least like a good, 40-hour work weekend or something, I always say put aside $50 every paycheck. If you do that over the span of the year, you have more than enough money to do any convention, regardless of where it is in North America. Because that's what I used to do. I used to work minimum wage at Burger King, just getting measly paychecks, and I would always just put a little money aside, little money aside, little money aside, because I didn't know where BotCon would be. It could be in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It could be in Chicago. It could be in Florida. It could be in the West Coast. I didn't know where it would be. So I always had to have, excuse me, a little money aside. I had a lot of pizza today. I had that Costco pizza. That's heavy. Um, but yeah, so it's something where you have to always kind of budget your money. And it's tough. I get it. Like I said, hotel room, if you don't split it with somebody, it's a whole domino effect of things. And but when you go, it's gonna be like a drug because you're gonna be like, man, that was expensive, but man, was that fun. And you're gonna have such a great time with the panels, with the events. I mean, the show doesn't end when the deal room closes. You go down to the bar and everyone's hanging out there, and you don't gotta drink to have a good time. You know, People are just having a great time. They're just talking robots. You go to the bar and everyone has action figures in their hands, which is must be surreal for the bartenders once a year to see stuff like that. But it's great. It's absolutely great. And I heavily suggest again, try to find an opportunity to go to those shows, you know? So it's something where, you know, find a way to put a little money aside and do it because if you're a Transformer fan, you owe it to yourself to at least do a convention once, at least once, because some of my friends, who are Transformer fans, but they've never done Transformer conventions. And then they finally like went to a TFCon Toronto, which I feel is the cheapest one to do. It's Canadian, exchange rate is good. It's easier to fly out to it, or even take a car for a Canadian. It's sometimes it's like from Montreal, it's a 6 hour drive. From other places in the GTA, it's like half an hour to 2 hour drive for close border people like north of New York or Chicago or Detroit. It's not too far a drive, and even in the case of Aaron Archer when he lived in Ohio, it's not too far a drive. Um, that's the easier one in my opinion. It's not the most impressive, but it's still super fun. So we'll see. We will see, but try to make an opportunity. Dark Star 777 with another beautiful gold super chat. He's not wrong there. Meet people got the pink and red hot rod and the planet painting from Aaron Archer. Cool dude from both of you. Well, there you go. See, he got the full experience. He went to the show, and then he got the little cheap exclusive from Proto Man, and then he got the amazing one of a kind painting item from Aaron Archer, which again, like the very first one I got from Aaron many years ago, and I always keep it up here. This is when Aaron used to like put like a certificate card. I don't know, Aaron, you don't do that anymore, eh? This one here, this little sketch card of a Energon hot rod. Very, very, very cool. Back in the day, and Canadians are friendly. Yeah, some of us are. Some of us are. Like anybody in the world, some are not. If there's a percentage, yeah, most of us are. But there's always exceptions to any rule in life. Actually, yes, this is the other thing too that I got this 2 weeks ago and I kept forgetting to show it on the live stream. This was some kind of weird gimmicky item that I think came out during either Age of Extinction or The Last Night. Supposedly it lights up because there's clearly for some pill batteries there. It's some Bumblebee item. It almost looks like something out of Transformers Unleashed when that was a thing back in 2007, 2009. So I just saw it. It was $1. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's like a cool like desk piece. And so I kind of just have it on my desk like that. It looks kind of cool. You know, thought that was radical. Very, very radical. Yeah, Ninjatron's not a nice Canadian. He will slit your throat. So if you see him in the bathroom, give him his space, let him do his thing, and let him leave. But then when you go to do your turn, watch your back. That's all I'm saying. Watch your back. Giggity. Shockwave 75. My son got that for Xmas a few years back. Okay. I don't like I have a vague memory of this. Like it came in a box or something, but like I think I remember seeing these at like a closeout store like in here in Montreal we have like Winners, which is kind of like a Marshalls, I guess. And it's clearly missing something cuz like one of the legs are missing, but I mean it still looks cool. Like, from this perspective it's like, still pretty cool. I dig it. I dig it. Looks very cool. I like those kind of like little statuesque kind of items because usually they're, Transformer statues. If you look them up from first four figures, sideshow, and all of them, you're talking thousands of dollars sometimes for Transformer statues. So to get like these cool little like PVC ones and it has like a light up gimmick on it. I mean, I dig it. I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. I'm not even a big Bumblebee guy, but I think, like the blast effect with it. It looks nice. But yeah, not much else really to talk about tonight. I mean, it's going to be a busy week leading up to TFcon Baltimore. We're going to do one more live stream during the week. I don't know what day I'm going to be doing it, but we will do definitely between Monday Monday and Thursday we'll do one more live stream because we might not have a live stream on Saturday. I when I'm crossing the border and bringing all kinds of other stuff, to have to bring the camera, the computer, and all of that stuff, it's sometimes a bit of a headache. I rather if someone else is doing a live stream that weekend, I will gladly be on your live stream. I'll put it out there. And it saves me the trouble, you know? It saves me the trouble of having to do one. So I know that some guys they want to do some event thingy or whatever, but I'll see how I feel. Sometimes I'm just like hanging out with people. Tom Laney, that statue, whatever that thing is, with Optimus in the background and Autobot. Oh, there's an Optimus also with it. Oh, are you talking about that crazy? Oh, you're talking about that crazy expensive statue there with Hot Rod and stuff with the Matrix. Yeah, well, even look even back in the day when Hard Heroes had the license for Transformer statues, and then later on Diamond when they were doing Transformer statues, they were always like $200, and then Big Bad Toy Store would be like buy it for 20. And I have a lot of Transformer statues. I wish I could show you guys. I bought them all from Big Bad Toy Store when they were like originally 200. Now it's $19. We dropped it because they take space and they're fragile. We glued Ravage back together. Buy it from us for 20 bucks, and you wouldn't even know it was broken because it's a polystone statue that has no articulation. And I would buy a whole bunch of them. I have a Ravage, I have a Alita One, a Ratchet, a Jazz, a Matrix of Leadership, a whole bunch of them. Shockwave, because they were just so cheap, and they were like originally 200 bucks, numbered, blah, blah, blah. Statues are kind of like overrated, but when they're cheap, I'll buy them. When it's cheap, I will buy it. That's how I roll. You know, I have a price limit, but I will pick it up when the opportunity presents itself. But at TFCon, my goal, I wish I brought my printouts. My goal the weekend of TFCon is there's a few autographs I want to get. There's going to be some people there that weekend that I've yet to meet at a convention. There's a good Cyberverse turnout. The voice of Hot Rod, so that one's really good. The voice of Hot Rod, the voice of Windblade, the voice of Bumblebee, and the voice of Bumblebee is like Rack and Rune, uh, Whirl. Who am I forgetting? Perceptor, Lord Na. So like one of the Sharkticons. So like there's a whole bunch of Cyberverse characters that are going to be there that weekend. So I want to kind of get those autographs because that I love that show. Like that's like a low key, really good Transformer show. People don't give it enough credit. Um, kind of wish there was more of it. It was such a good Transformer show. So I kind of want to get their autographs. It's kind of going to be one of my goals that weekend. And aside from that, really just networking and hanging out with people. More or less it, more or less it. There's not much in terms of toys that I'm hunting for outside of new stuff. Old, like, I might find like, like a seller there who might have non-Transformer stuff that might have some cool stuff. But in terms of Transformer stuff, not much that I'm missing that I need. Let's put it that way. There might be like the oddball Mexican variant or loose or something that some guy might be selling. But I mean, I remember one show I was sitting next to Aaron, and one of my big purchases was a sealed shampoo bottle of Street Sharks from the 90s. Like, just to give you an idea of sometimes the bottom of the barrel of what you're purchasing because there's nothing for you. Airy Nut with the $2 super chat. Next Universal Monster crossover when? I am surprised they haven't done Creature of the Black Lagoon yet. I feel like that's the next natural progression. And there's a few pre-existing molds that we have of like deluxes that I feel could have that shape and sculpt. So I feel that should be the next one. And if it's Universal, that's a trademark they own and it's a classic character. And it'd be really cool to do like the classic old poster and everything. But I like those old movies. I worked, the very first job I ever had was working at a video store from age 11 until 13. And shout out to Salim, my first boss. Video Illusion doesn't exist anymore. Rest in peace. Um, and I used to rent movies all the time, and I loved like all those kind of old movies and stuff. So very, very cool. But I feel, yeah, Creature of Black Lagoon probably is the next one that makes sense. I wonder how well the Frankenstein did, because that one kind of like it was announced and then no one ever talked about it again. So I wonder how that one did. Because I have the Dracula. I have that one, and that one's really cool. Like that one's really, really cool because that's the Bela Lugosi Dracula, like the style of the box and the design. So we will see. We will see. I want to make sure I don't miss any questions. I agree. Statues are overrated. Rated says Mike Prime 21, and I agree too. I think they look cool. They look cool, but if there is one group of fans in a hobby that will not appreciate statues because of their lack of motion and the ability to convert, it is a Transformer fan. You know, we are the last people you should be trying to market statues to. But there's a huge statue market in Asia, specifically China and Hong Kong, and they also love Transformers. So that's peanut butter and jelly you cannot ignore for that market of 4.4 billion people with a uh, increasing birth rate that you could attach your money to. Uh, where are we? I want to make sure. Wish Cyberverse series was on Blu-ray. I wish it was too. That's a big problem that I keep worrying about is that literally after Transformers Prime, like they stopped focusing on physical media for a lot of Transformer stuff. Like, Robots in Disguise 2015, Cyberverse didn't get a proper physical release. And then it's like, even the weird stuff. You ever think BotBots is going to get a physical release? You ever think like the War for Cybertron Netflix series is, those won't ever get physical releases. And those are scary because that could be like a lost media kind of situation where, yeah, we have illegal copies of it, but there'll never be like a physical version. And if one day Netflix takes it down, outside of illegal means, there would be no way to watch it. There'd be no legal way to watch that series. Not that it's worth it really, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to just be real here. So, but Cyberverse, it's available for free right now on YouTube. Hasbro and the Transformers YouTube channel, give them a plug. They have it up so you can watch all 4 seasons, and it's a fantastic show. Great voice actors, great story, love it. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Mojutron, Gillman, and Wolfman would be awesome. Yeah, Wolfman too. That's another one. That's another one. Take like Weird Wolf, use that mold, you know, get a Wolfman out of that easily. Or take the new Dread hatchet, turn that into a Wolfman, make that crazy. Um, let's see where we at. Ashnut, I did statues when I went through my adult phase. When you went through your adult phase, adult video. Darkstar 777. South Korea loves their statues. Oh, I didn't know that. I know that, like, again, I have a lot of buddies in China, and like I get to really see how that market is. And man, do they spend a lot of money on statues. That's like big over there because they got the space. It's not like Japan where like, man, something that's like this and that expensive, that should be paying rent in your small Japanese apartment. But China, some places just they got space. There is crazy toy collections in China that people do not know about because they have their own internet and they just don't really communicate. Like most of them do not communicate with the Western world of Facebook and social media, so you never see these epic collections. But like through the Ultraman fandom, because they kind of break through, you see like crazy tokusatsu collections and like guys that like make custom wood doors that have like sculpted Ultraman on it and opens up to their giant man cave of like kaiju stuff and everything. I've seen collections that will boggle your mind from China. It's crazy. But Japan's still the cooler place to go. Either way. Um, where are we at? Question. I am very what Hasbro and Lungai's purpose only for toys where house distributions are. So Guillaume, Hasbro Lungai's primary purpose. Let me grab. Do I have some packaging near me? Ah, I do actually. One moment. Speaking of the amazing series of Cyberverse. So a little bit of dust on this one. Uh, so usually when you look on the back of Transformer packaging, you'll see it's plastic injection and assembly in Vietnam. That's where it always is. That's where 99% of Transformer toys, outside of a few masterpieces here and there. But then you have Longueuil for packaging. So how it works is these two figures will be sent to Longueuil, Quebec, which is like 15 minutes north of my house, and they put this in packaging. Their primary job is languages because Quebec is lulu when it comes to language laws. And so to just kind of play it safe, because they're the crazy one in this entire country when it comes to that, and take it from a French Canadian, it is a little mentally crazy how much they lose their mind over it. I don't want to get too deep into it, but they do that there primarily for because it's just easier. They have all the languages done. I mean, again, sorry to pick this up again, but you know they take care of all of this. Let's just cross all the T's and dot the I's, so to speak, and then afterwards it's then spread out distribution wise to all of them. That's why a lot of times some of the very first Transformer sightings like the best example, Transformers the movie 2007 and Revenge of the Fallen, the first sightings of any of those toys were right here in Montreal. Like it's like they distribution just went right there and just dropped it all in a Zellers. Zellers was what we have as Target. So something else. But yeah, so that's kind of like what its purpose is in a lot of ways. It's really just packaging, and it's all the packaging that goes all over North America and other English speaking areas, so like Australia, UK, or whatever. So that's kind of, and that's why like the UK, they're always like, man, why do we always get things last? Because it goes here and then it's got to go there, and it's a whole thing. It might be a little different today because I know they're opening up a UK office, but due to recent Hasbro financial issues, I don't know what the future of that will be. Not to mention if they have to move the office to Boston, which I think would be weird, but whatever. Evolution and time moves on, I guess. Just don't ever make the same mistake that other companies do. Uh, an insider friend of mine was saying one of the biggest problems for Super 7 and the reason why their product is so expensive is because they're based in California and more specifically San Diego. Not San Diego, San Francisco. And it's like he was like literally criticizing them, going like these dumb idiots. Like because they have to live there, they have to charge more for their products so they could afford their expensive rent. Where if they had their whole operation in like Arizona or a smaller, lower rent kind of state, they'd be able to function, do all their crazy stuff, and not have to be as expensive and probably make way more money. But you have to live in California. So it's kind of the same thing where uh, I think Hasbro moving to Boston might not be the best idea, but don't take my word for it. Aaron talks way better about it than I do. Go check out his segment that he did yesterday under the live tab of his channel over there. Uh, Ashnud, my wife loved the alternators line. She made sure it got all of those molds, including the Kiss Play ones. Well, I mean, alternators as a car mechanic myself was a match made in heaven and was kind of like I always say alternators was the prototype to what would be classics, where it's like, let's take those classic characters and give them modern engineering and updated designs. And then, of course, the domino effect that would then lead to classics, thanks to alternators. And Binaltech, its Japanese equivalent, and Kissplay, its much more spicier equivalent. Oh, bada boom. Kisuplaya. Look at that butt. Anyways, she's 18, I swear. I swear. I'm going to jail. Anyways, Mike Prime, Proto, do you think we could see Silverbolt as well as tomorrow, like we saw Magmatron last year at 1027? Well, I mean, the big reveal is going to be the Devastator. You know, I think that when you have big items like a Silverbolt, save that for another live stream. Devastator is going to be the big one, and then we'll get, Silverbolt later on, and then, everything else. Always pace yourself. Never do everything all in one shot. I mean, when people watch a segment and go, wow, that was underwhelming, we only got to see 7 things. It's like, they didn't have to show us anything. I came from a time when you found out your Beast Wars toys or your Robots in Disguise toys from seeing them on the shelf for the first time. You know? Wait a minute, there's a blue repaint of Dragon Megatron called Cryotech? What's the story with that? That's literally how we found out about it. Someone just found it in a giant tiger. That was like the brand of the place that they found it in. Nowadays, we know everything 7 months out, sometimes even earlier because of stolen stuff. Alden Tolbert with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Alden. Sooner or later, we will enter an age of 3D prints since Hasbro goes to the dark age. Well, that's what I feel. Unfortunately, might be the natural progression of physical goods. Is in the same way that physical media is slowly starting to die because of a digital world. And while yeah, you could download a game and burn it on a CD yourself or something, I feel that one day, the 3D printer will get so good that we'll enter this Star Trek-esque kind of holodeck, not holodeck, what's it called, the replicator? Replicator? I don't know. I'm not a big Star Trek guy. Replicator, but like, we're going to enter a world like that where we'll be able to kind of make that kind of stuff. Just kind of have like, it'll scan, I'll use Perfect Cell here. It'll scan Perfect Cell and then you could kind of tell the computer, okay, like this is a joint and this is a joint, and then and then and then boom, you know, you know, make it happen, Captain. So it's something I could totally see like being a thing, you know, totally see being a thing. Uh, oh, we got a YouTube member. Oh, David Cabal, what's up, David? Great haircut and excellent sideburns. Thank you. I've always been rocking sideburns my whole life. I look at like old childhood photos and I always had the sideburns. I don't know who to blame for that. maybe my hippie parents. You know, but yeah, yeah. I'll answer this non-super chat question because it helps out someone who has a car problem, and I always want to help you guys save money. I'm not going to read his name though. Um, but hey, Proto, I drive a Nissan Rogue 2017, which is funny actually because I was around that time I was probably working on Nissan. No, it wasn't around then. I would have to say more 2011-ish. I was working at Nissan doing my stage there. It's not starting. When I touch the ignition, there's a click sound, but it doesn't start. Any idea? So here's the problem. So if you don't have a na 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 na, that means your battery is dead. If if there's a clicking sound, then that means that your battery is completely dead and you're just getting a little bit of the clicking. You might have an alternator problem. Your alternator might have been shot. You're driving, and usually the job of your alternator is to see. Now you're learning where this line got its name from. um, when you drive a car, your alternator's job is to create energy, magnetic energy, which powers your battery and fills it up because it's a giant rechargeable battery. Your battery in your car. What probably happened is either number A, you left your lights on, which I'm going to assume you didn't, or B, your alternator died. It's one or the other. So it's something where what I would suggest is get someone to boost your car, drive it for like 15 minutes, and then bring it back home somewhere safe. So if it does die again, you could get it boosted again, and then try to start it again. If you have the same problem again, you have an alternator problem, my friend. You need to change your alternator. So that's the simple answer for that. But that's why if you have a clicking sound, it means you're on your last little vestige of battery power that can't turn the engine. The sound that you hear when you turn on a car, the n n n n, that's the battery making the pistons go up and down before it finally fires and then it does everything else. That's all the battery's for. It has one job to start your car. That's it. That's why it's so big. It has one job just to do that. So there's a free super chat because I want to help out people who have car trouble and not have to spend a ton of money at a mechanic. Hope that helps, frog expert. It ain't easy being green. Um, Ashnud, I 3D printed a custom Extreme Ghostbusters pack for Halloween, as in the original Extreme Ghostbusters, the Kenner series from the 90s. Follow up from Frog Expert. I'm getting a clicking sound and the icon on the screen shows. Well, if you still have the screen, it means you have enough power on your battery to at least light up your dashboard. I got a jump from someone and that didn't help. Then it's alternator, my friend. It's your alternator is dead. So that's what it is. If you jumped it and it still doesn't fix it, because again, when your let's say you left your lights on and you killed your battery. If someone jumps it, like, boosts your car, and then you drive around for like 15, 20 minutes, it would give enough. The alternator would give enough to the battery that now you're at least a little bit in, I wouldn't say like if it was a cell phone, you'd be in the yellow. You wouldn't be in the green, you know? You'd be in like the 40% ish, you know? So it's got to be your alternator, brother. Just, what I would suggest is if you have, it's not a hard job, alternators. If you have a dealership, a dealership or a small garage that works on the cheap, they're usually not hard jobs. They'll obviously order the parts. It's going to take a day minimum, depending on your vehicle. Rogue, because it's a van, doesn't have a lot of space. Might take a little longer, but it's definitely a dead alternator, 100%, 100%. And that's what I like to call over the phone diagnosis, which I haven't seen the car, I haven't touched the car, I'm not looking at the car, but you could figure it out just sometimes with basic stuff. But yeah. Yeah, John, the magnetic test. Well, we have a machine that we use sometimes too, because when we work with BMWs, they have a unique alternator where we have a thing. It checks to see if the magneto. Where did that name come from? The magneto inside the alternator, if it's actually getting a magnetic pull, like you said, to see if it's working. But yeah, hope that helps. Hope that helps. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to tow it, or look, you're gonna have to boost it and then drive to wherever your garage is going to be and then leave it there. But if you have CAA, actually CAA is Canadian, AAA, and you could get a free towing and bring it to where you need to bring it to, you know, everything works out. How much it'll cost, that I don't know. I don't know American prices. It's a 2-hour job for a Rogue because it's a van, so it'll have a deeper engine bay. So whatever the labor is for 2 hours, and then the part in Canadian dollars is $200. But again, that's average and that's Canadian prices, so that I can't tell you. But it will be like a 2-hour job minimum. I say it's a day job because they're not going to get to it right away. They have to wait for the part to order to come. So it's something where you leave the car and you come back 24 to 48 hours later. But yeah, you could kill your battery. Like you could kill your battery and recharge it back up, leaving the lights on. One classic example that was amazing, that even shame on me as a mechanic, I didn't make that connection right away. When we had the big V and all of us were like shut in for like weeks on end because, oh my God, it's the end of the world, everyone stay home. Think about it. We all didn't drive our cars, most of us, if you stayed home for a couple of weeks. And my car, because it had Bluetooth, and every time you like kind of like, even when you're in the house, when you walk by the front of your house, if it makes a Bluetooth connection with your car, it was slowly killing the battery. And then like when it was finally time to like do like a grocery run with masks and all the craziness, I go to start my car and it was dead. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm such an amateur. How did I not think to like at least run my car for like 15 minutes? You know, because if you don't drive your, in the modern cars today that have all kinds of electrical stuff in there that are running. Look, it used to be back in the day, the most you would have is a little LED, you know, light emitting diode clock on your dashboard that maybe would run 24/7. Then, of course, then they added the car alarm, which have a blinking light, which takes absolutely nothing in terms of power. But even those two, if you had that little clock that was always running and the little blinking light for your car alarm, if you didn't drive your car for 2 weeks, the battery would be dead. So now imagine when you have like ongoing Bluetooth and all this other stuff connected to it. You don't drive your car for 4 days and it's dead. So yeah. But I hope that helps. Hope that helps, and I hope it helps anyone else too. Hopes anyone's. I will always take a non-super chat question if it's to help you guys out for car stuff. Always willing to do that because as someone who sees how expensive that world is, I was encouraged by my teacher to go into BMW just because they are terrible cars. They always break down, and it pays well. Darkstar 777 with the gold super chat. Thank you again, Darkstar. A mechanic game, and I'm aviation 60 tank mechanic. Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. So you're a triple changer. I've never worked on planes. When I went into mechanics, they taught you first on motorcycle engines and go-kart engines, and what's the other one that they taught us? Lawnmower engines, because they're simple one-stroke, giggity, one-stroke engines. That's what they're called. So you learn the basics of starting those and fixing those, and it's fun too because you kind of learn how to like make a custom go-kart engine. And then, of course, then you move on to bigger engines, four cylinder, 6 cylinder, 8 cylinders, diesel engines. The only engine I've never worked on is a hybrids. I've yet to like encounter a hybrid because BMW never really messed with them. It's more of a Toyota thing, in my opinion. And I've yet to mess with a single electric car. And not that I would work on one anyways, but like I've never even done a tire change on an electric car. Not saying that they're bad. I mean, one day they will be good. They're not really good now, but one day they will be good. I hope they will be. I think if we could get an electric car that lasts as long as your cell phone does over the week, like without charging it, we could really be onto something there. But it's not there yet. It's not there yet. One day it will be, but it's not there yet. I would love it if it was, but it's not there yet. Um, but yeah, so it's something where like, if you don't drive your car for a while, and Micah, who's a cell phone expert, who's Decepticitty here in the chat, Bluetooth power consumption is a fraction of yesteryear's bulbs. Oh yeah, but it's something where, imagine, I didn't drive the car for 2 weeks. All the other electrical stuff that's in there too, that's working behind the scenes, because now you have a GPS that at all times has to remember all your data. You have like just, there's so many like CPUs and everything that are just sitting there draining power from the battery. Think about it. If you disconnect your battery from your car, you lose all your stations for your radio. It all gets wiped that you saved. So it's little silly things like that that all just burn the battery over time if you don't drive it. But now all of us, we drive our car minimum once or twice a week in our lives. But during the big V, that's when we kind of had a different jam going on. Patrick Brown, most people's cell phone batteries life is pretty bad. I think you have a good battery life because you don't use social media. That is correct. That's probably a large part to do with it, my friend. I mean, look, I'll even show you guys. It's at 75 right now. And here's my first page, which, yeah, okay, I got Instagram only because how else could I post on Instagram? That's the only one I have. And then that's it. Oop, that's all I got. Look, Oh, there's Sandy's face. um, but yeah, I'm not a social media guy. Like, I think there's too many cool things in life to enjoy in real life than to stare at your phone all day. When I go in front of my computer, look, all those podcasts and everything we do, I'm sitting here. I am not doing any of that from a couch or anywhere else. I do it in front of a desktop, or I have this laptop to do the streaming. There's too much cool stuff to do. I could go out, be playing basketball or hockey or sports. I could do racing, could hang out with friends and stuff. Social media is a tool for business and for making money, but anyone who knows, you don't make it a part of your everyday life and distract you. Too many people are staring down. And with me, with this, you don't want to be staring down all the time. James, it doesn't help that a lot of folks throw their phones on their charger at 40 to 60%, which kills the lifespan of the battery. Yeah, me, I just kind of just ride it out. I just ride it out completely. Oh, it's dying. Okay. No emergencies. Darkstar 777, I dropped out of high school, joined the military, and did motorcycle mechanics. Let me tell you something, my friend, and I know it's a hot take, but you did it right. And I'm not saying you should drop out of high school. It's always good to have high school because a lot of places require at least a high school diploma for education, for work. But I always say graduate high school, and then before you put yourself into life crippling debt, which is college, university, or whatever, figure out what you really want to do in life. There is a lot of trades that don't cost a lot to go into, like in terms of investment, education wise, that will make you richer than you could ever imagine. A plumber in his first 10 years will make way more money than any doctor ever will. So always consider trades, my friends. So many of my friends are in crippling debt, and they're dentists, they're doctors. And yeah, maybe in year 25, they'll have all their debt paid off, and then they'll be making that crazy money and laughing at me. But I don't want to have to wait until I'm 55 years old to be enjoying my life, and to be a homeowner. I took great advice. My father and me, we sat down one day and he's like, "You love racing, you love cars. Why don't you be a car mechanic? And you don't have to work weekends. Sign me up, brother." And the rest was history. That was like a 6 a.m. in the morning conversation at breakfast while I was in college, trying to figure out what I wanted to do because computers were evolving way too quickly and no one was having their jobs. I can't even imagine now what AI is going to do to all my friends who were in computer science when I was in college. You know, Luckily, I didn't put myself in much debt, if any at all, because I figured out very early that not happening. Went into a trade, made a lot of money. Next thing you know, I'm a homeowner. While on people I know who went into dentistry and doctors and stuff like that, they're still trying to catch up. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing if you want to go into that, but I'm just saying more for people that are kind of like lost right now. Try to figure it out before you do any of that. Try to figure that stuff out because it's a reality, my friends. It's a reality. There's a lot of great paying jobs out there that one day you're going to go to a party and the guy who says he's a plumber should get just as much respect as the guy who says he's a brain surgeon. You know, I know it sounds silly, but I'm telling you, take it from me. And it's a practical job. Hey, man, something's wrong with your toilet. Let me tell you something. You need to take a crap. You're going to need a plumber. And if you know how to do it, I mean, I know how to fix a toilet. It's pretty easy, actually, once you learn, but, you know, it helps. It's not the glorious job, but man, does it pay. Plumber comes over, fixes your toilet. Yeah, that'll be $400, sir, for 30 minutes of work. How many doctors could say that, you know? And then they have to do a crazy shift and everything. T-Formers 2002. Thankfully, my job didn't close, so I never had to spend time stuck at home. Well, I was lucky too, like that, because we had a union with BMW. We had a situation where when the big V happened, yeah, we were closed for a bit, but then, mechanics were very spaced out. We all have our own stations and the cars are brought to us, and it's all we don't deal with customers like on a face-to-face basis. So we worked out pretty fine during it. But I mean, it still sucked. It still sucked everything, no cons, no toy buying, no hanging out with friends, no all that, we had to get over that hump, but it is what it is. Dark Star, I grew up with a really bad school system and got my GED there. It was Way doesn't give up on being first time. Look, not everyone is destined. Not everyone is destined for education. You know, some people will go to school and they just can't sit in the classroom. And that's just it. But then they find that they're really good at something, electronics, plumbing, anything. They find something they're good at and they absolutely crush it. And it's like, yeah, congratulations. You weren't good at English literature writing or Shakespeare or math or pure and applied science or physics and chemistry, but you're really good at changing PVC pipes and making $400 an hour. Swish. Good for you. You know, everyone finds it. School is one way to set up the rest of your life, but it's not the only way. And don't fall for the college meme. Some people need college for what they want to go into. Don't get me wrong, but it's not for everybody. And it kills me when someone puts themselves like $30,000 in debt on a 7% interest rate that they could barely keep up with in their social science degree, that they're never even going to make enough money from that degree to even pay the 7% interest per month of it. Yeah, I just put $20,000 into my student loan. Gee, wonder how much I've paid off. What? Like it's like, oh my God. I've had this conversation before with a friend. Yeah, but it's a whole other conversation. I don't want to get too deep into it. It's almost depressing in a lot of ways. Mm, you're right, Darkstar. Find your passion. Find your passion. Everyone has something that they're really good at, and we're so lucky today that we live in a world where if you do find something you're passionate about, there's free education online. It used to be that education was gate kept behind money. Oh, you want to go to college? You want to go to university? You had to pay money and to go into these courses to get a piece of paper. Now, like, there's courses on YouTube for free. So it's really just a matter, do you want to watch that cat video? Do you want to scroll on TikTok? Or do you want to watch this 2-hour free university course on YouTube? And you can educate yourself on multitudes of different things that are your passions. Electrical stuff, engineering, all kinds of things. And then you find what you're good at. And if you love it and it makes good money and it feeds you and it keeps you happy, that's a win in my opinion. I came from a family that didn't have money. My father was the one who went to university, ended up doing nothing with it. He has a bachelor degree in science, but in construction, and unfortunately, it was the 1960s when he got it. computers didn't even exist yet. So much changed. It wasn't, using abacuses and protractors and stuff anymore. So, he had to go back to school, and we were poor for a long period of time. My mother was a secretary at a school, an all girls school, private school, just where we were just getting by, and we were lucky because my grandmother owned the house that we lived in, and we lived in this duplex. It was like two families all crushed together in one. It was like my family, my grandmother and my grandfather, and my uncle living in the basement. We were all just surviving in this one duplex house. We didn't have a lot of money, but I saw that as long as you're happy and you have a passion about what you do, and my father was good with construction. He helped build these things along with my father-in-law, excuse me. Um, so he lived a good life, and a happy life that he got to do what he loved, which was construction, at least in some shape or form. And yeah, it wasn't the big money he would have made going to university, but he's still happy. He got to enjoy his hobbies, you know, he got to buy all the cool things that he wanted to buy, and that's it. Ashnod, I love my culinary arts degree and experience. Well, if you make money from it, if you love cooking, you know, Patrick, chemical engineer as my profession. Couldn't hit without that degree. Well, as I said, not everything you can't do without a degree. Well, look, as a car mechanic, I still need, it's called a DEP, but you still need a degree that proves that you could work on cars. They're not just going to let any rando mess with brake lines, You still have to go to school for it. But it's the level of investment for school that's the difference, you know. I think what did I have to pay? It was Lori Mac automotive education, and I think I paid $5,000, and then I had to pay an extra $400 as a deposit to borrow the tools. We get a toolbox, and then we get that $400 back as long as I give back all the tools and none of them are broken. So, and it worked out for me. I mean, that $4,000 was gotten back quite quickly after getting my first job at Canadian Tire. But, and then later on moving on to BMW afterwards. But, again, hey man, everyone has something they're destined to do. Everyone does. Everyone does. And I always say just find out what that is, you know, and be realistic about it. Like don't think I do this full time. I do not. Don't think that I do. I want to be a YouTuber. Nah, you're not gonna. The days of Logan Paul and what he did to YouTube's algorithm and the adpocalypse, as we call it. There's no way in hell you can make money from YouTube now unless you're in the million subscriber club, maybe, and even then, you know. David Cabal with the $2 super chat. Were you part of the Boy Scout Club extracurricular? Extracurricular activities I did in grade one. I used to take extra hockey after school. It's very Canadian. And extra gym because I always loved doing sports. I did extracurricular baseball and didn't like it as a kid. I'm never like I appreciate baseball as a sport, but I don't really like it that much. So as a kid, I discovered very early on I didn't like baseball. Wasn't really part of any other. It was always sports related: basketball team, soccer team, hockey team. Always been a sports guy. I'm left-handed. For people who don't know, I'm left-handed and I'm 6'1". So, and I was 6'1" as of 13, 14 years old. So left-handed 6'1" high schooler, destined to do a lot of things in terms of sports. So that's kind of how that came about. So those were kind of it. I never really did Boy Scouts or anything. Even in summer, I did day camp once. Like I had like camp once. And I remember telling my mom, it just feels like it's just more school because I had to wake up and be somewhere in summer where I just liked waking up in summer and going to hang out with my neighbor. And we were lucky because we lived across from a mall, like this giant mall in Montreal. And I just loved like waking up in the morning, going hanging out with my next door neighbor, the same neighbor that I went to see Transformers the 86 movie with all those years ago. Hanging out with my neighbor, going to play hockey, driving around with our bikes. I mean, why would I want to be cooped up, in day camp where we're like just coloring while some camp counselors are just making sure we're not beating up each other or whatever. And we go to a swimming pool once in a while, but it wasn't as fun. Any other? Oh, I did do judo. I did judo in college. Um, we had to take an extra gym course, and they didn't have any sports. Like you couldn't take basketball as an extra gym course in college. And I was just, this is how, by the way, this is what's called CJEP in Quebec. We have a very special kind of college system where you have to take like three Englishes, three extras, and all this stuff and everything. So we had to take a couple of phys ed courses, and they had judo. And I was like, that's a good way to stay in shape and meet people. And I took those judo courses. Here's a little Proto Man lore. Took these judo courses and indirectly met my wife that way. I actually met one of her friends, got very close with that friend, and then that friend would always throw parties. And let me tell you something, always be friends with girls, even the ugly ones. They'll throw parties, they'll invite their friends, and then you might meet other girls. So I was friends with that girl, no shade thrown at that girl, I'm just saying. And she would throw parties all the time. And then I go to those parties, and that's how I met my wife all those years later. But I joined judo classes. Akio-san, who was my teacher, Japanese judo guy, black belt. And then I would do judo every year because I was like, man, it's a great way to stay in shape. It was fun. You got to meet people, and it was easy marks. You were guaranteed to get like easy marks. So there's a little Proto Man lore for you. Uh, where are we at here? Oh heck yeah, I'm part of the Jetfire member club. I must have missed something there. A hot take. I'm not into baseball. Well, you have to understand, Montreal has a weird, like where I'm from here, Montreal has a weird relationship with baseball. We had the Expos, which was like a historic team in terms of like we had like the first black baseball player, Jackie Robinson, and stuff like that. But no one loves baseball here because we have the greatest hockey team of all time, the Montreal Canadiens, and we also have a huge basketball community here. And we have the Alouettes, which is part of the CFL with football. Like we love everything but baseball. It's kind of funny. We like soccer more even, you know? Um, T-Formers 2002, my extracurriculars pretty much consisted of school of 8-year-old band and 4 years of high school marching. Hey, you know what? As long as you meet people, you know what I mean? When I was in college, I don't count this as an extracurricular, but they did have an anime club there. And while I wasn't really part of the club, I joined it just so I could rent VHSs, because they had a great VHS library. And I'm like, oh man, they got like Slam Dunk, the movie 2 and 3. Like, could I borrow that? Well, you have to sign up. Okay. And so, you sign up and you borrow some VHSs and just be sure to bring them back. They had Cyborg 009. They had a whole bunch of interesting stuff there in the old VHS tape trading days. So that's like the closest I had to like a club that I was part of in any capacity. I was always part of sports teams. Those were always kind of my thing. Shockwave 75 met my wife at a party too. Got invited because I wasn't a jerk. Well, that always helps. Guillaume, and Let's Go Habs from Decepticitty. Damn right. Guillaume, it's weird that we still don't have NBA team in Montreal. I never understood it myself. When Vancouver got the Grizzlies, which they don't have anymore, rightfully so, but when they did get the Grizzlies, I did not understand why they got a team before we did. It doesn't make any sense at all. I still think one day we'll get a team. We will. We have a farm team called the Wolves for the lower league, like not D1 or D2 or D3, but like lower league basketball. We have a farm team, but we don't have an NBA team. We will one day. I think it'll still happen. It's just, all the stars have to align, but it will happen one day. Montreal is huge for basketball. The New York Knicks would have games in Montreal. Like once in a while, there'd be sponsored games that would play in Montreal just because they know if the Knicks will have like one game out of the year in Montreal, the tickets will sell out because it'll be like Montrealers going like, oh my God, we have an NBA basketball game locally here and the tickets will sell out. We don't even care about the Knicks. It's just, hey, we get to have an NBA basketball game. So from the Knicks perspective, they'll go, well, we could play locally here in New York and maybe sell half the stadium, or travel to Montreal for one game and do it, and it'll do well. They did the same thing with the Boston Celtics back in the 90s. So they know it's there. Where's Butters? He's actually not here, oddly enough. Butters was here before we went live, but then he went upstairs and he's like, "Screw it, I'm going to bed." Kevin PH with the $5 super chat. Transformers X Terminator crossover when? So can we have an RC that's not restricted like the G1? Yeah, RC had a cool design during the Terminator crossover. That was an Alex Milne drawn comic book. I'm surprised they didn't do anything with that. That has to be like a movie licensing thing. Because who owns Terminator? Is it Paramount? Does Paramount have Terminator? So there must be like, if they don't, then that's probably the only reason why maybe that's holding that back. But then again, why do we get all those Jurassic Park ones or Universal Studios? So I don't know. It is a weird one. It is a weird one. Um, but yeah, Butters isn't here, unfortunately. He's upstairs chilling. And I'm gonna probably go upstairs later too. I'm starving. I didn't have enough pizza today, so I'm gonna make myself. I bought some steaks, so I'm gonna make something. Um, but that's definitely what I'm gonna probably have for dinner tonight. T Formers 2000. I'm gonna probably have steak and broccoli. Good protein and a good green vegetable. Mikey and Louie, what's up? What's up? What's up? We're almost done. Actually, we're 9 minutes away. We're almost complete. Guillaume, uh, we will have an NBA theme. I guess I meant team before the Nordiques come back to Quebec. I don't think. You know what, Guillaume? I felt like when Eric Lindros didn't want to be part of the Nordiques back in the 90s, that was the beginning of the end for the Nordiques in Quebec. It was almost like the fact that a high end player was able to go like, no, I don't want to be there. I was like, uh-oh, that's the end of that. And then a couple years later, no more Nordiques, and then we had the Avalanche, and the rest was history. And then they won a cup not long after that with Patrick. Prince of Phalanx 59, Proto, how many figures do you think will be revealed tomorrow? I think maybe just Devastator, and then I think it's gonna be just Devastator, and then we'll get the through the space bridge thing. Like I think they'll just do that kind of thing. They'll do like, hey, here's Widowmaker, like all these things like that we saw in like, like bad photos, obviously. Like we'll get some high res images of this stuff, maybe. So we'll get some nice images of that. Maybe the Widowmaker, which now we know through JT Prime is KSI Widow. Maybe we'll see that along with it, or just Devastator, and they're saving it all for a future live stream. I feel like we get a live stream once every month. They find like somewhere for a Transformer Tuesday or a Transformer Thursday. So maybe we'll get just Devastator because that's a big one. Look, that's going to be 6 figures right there. You know what I mean? Some of those are Voyagers, some of those are Deluxes, some of those are Leaders. So we'll get all of that, and we'll get that big reveal. And then sometime in November, we'll get everything else. That's what I think, anyhow. You know, that's what I think is a strong possibility. John Wick crossover. Um, Kevin PH with the $2 super chat. Are we ever going to get Omnibots? I've answered this quite a few times, and I always will have the same answer. Two of the three Omnibots are trademarks that Hasbro still has. They still have Downshift and they still have Camshaft. So it's just Overdrive that's the tough one. They don't have Overdrive. So if they get Overdrive, then at least you're guaranteed him. But the other two could happen. I mean, we were just talking about alternators. Camshaft was an alternator character. You can't see it, but those are the G1 colored spy changers. One of them was Camshaft, which is behind the Optimus here. He used the side swipe mold, I believe it was. So they always keep that trademark alive. They always throw it on something. Oh, hey, here's a movie character that was Swindle from the movie 2007 line, the red car. Let's call it Camshaft. You know, it's one of those names they just throw onto something to keep it going. So sooner or later we'll get one. They'll do a downshift too. They'll throw them on. And downshift is also one of those trademarks you could throw it on different stuff. because you have like a downshift that was a Cybertron character. You have a downshift that's a mini con. One of the Skyboom Shield was called Downshift. So we'll see it. We'll see it sooner or later. We'll see it sooner or later for sure. It's one of those. It's not a matter of if it'll happen. It's just a matter of when. You can't give everyone everything. If you're a company that's plotting out your waves, like let's say, like, look, we have a line every year, and every year is 3 to 4 waves. And each wave is now, especially where there's always a filler, but each wave is 4 deluxes, 2 Voyagers, 2 leaders. So you're talking minimum every year 20 deluxes, you know, bearing a few doubles because of refreshes and reissues and fillers. You know, you're going to get maybe 8 Voyagers, maybe 8 leaders, 1 Titan, 1 Commander. And they every year have to plot out what are going to be those characters. And you could put some new characters, some new faces, some trademarks that need to be saved, all of those things. It's all strategic. So sooner or later, that door is going to open and they're going to be like, we got to do six shot, not six shot, sure shot, the target master. We got to do this. Oh, maybe we could do the Omnibot. Oh, darn, bludgeon is going to expire soon. We got to do a bludgeon. Okay, then we'll do this and that. Oh gosh, we got to do brainstorm. He's going to be expiring soon. So there's kind of, and granted, they don't have to do it just on a classics-esque, generations line. They could throw it on a tiny turbo changer, on a studio series, on a main line, on a movie toy, on a licensed product through Super 7 or Funko. But the point is that they can't do everything. So there really has to be a pacing that has to be done. Chief Warmers 2002, still waiting for Insecticon Venom, which will probably be Venom. They'll probably do that because they've used that trademark before, twice actually. So we'll probably see Venom at some point, and maybe it'll be in another 4-pack box set. They really seem to like those, you know. Very, very cool. I could see it. Guillaume, I want that Spy Changer Prime mold in its mini laser prime. Yeah, there he is. It's very cool. I love that one. It's very, very cool. That was a KB exclusive, those? I don't remember. Remember they came on individual card backs that were kind of like Armada's packaging. Those were years ago I bought those. Everything's in numerical order, so those are definitely like 2006, 2007. Oh, speak of the devil. Yo, what's up? Your audience awaits, especially before we go off the air, you know? Ugh. Up here, sir. Hold on. Gotta turn the camera. There we go. Ugh. Uh, Ashnode with the question. Hunt for the Decepticon considered Bayverse from the toy line perspective? I asked because I would love to see the Sea Spray version come. Well, you know what's funny? They did those online. Sorry, Butters. They did those online CG little shorts there where they put the bludgeon in there from Hunt. Was he Hunt for the Decepticons? Oh no, that was Reveal the Shield. See, that's the thing. Hunt for the Decepticon and Reveal the Shield. They both like. Is this pseudo G1? Is this supposed to be part of like movie 2010 in between Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon? Some of those were used in CG shorts, to be represented as movie characters. I always feel it's your own fanon. I like to see the bludgeon not as a movie toy, but as a classics toy, even though it's represented as a movie toy. Um, but then like clearly the jazz from Hunt for the Reveal the Shield is clearly a classics kind of thing. It's like 50-50. I see it more not as a movie line, but like just like a line that you could put different continuities in, and then you decide where those fit in. That's kind of the way I see it. Transformatics Venom should be in a 2-pack with Ransack because he was tough to get. Was he tough to get, Ransack? I mean, he was in another multi-pack like everyone else, no? If I remember correctly. Right? Yeah. No, wait a minute. Yeah, well, yeah, Ransack was in a two pack thing. Mark Morales with the $5 super chat. Since the new SS Bumblebee has opened up the doors to updating past figures with new molds, which one would you want to see deserve a proper update? Um, One of them and it's probably not that important on my list, but it would be nice to see them revisit them. Both of the main baddies from the Bumblebee movie. They are triple changers. So it'd be really cool instead of having them be those deluxes that sold poorly during that initial studio series launch, like Dropkick especially. Like Dropkick was all over the place. They couldn't get rid of Dropkick. Make them like Voyager scale or leader scale and put all that engineering to make them triple changers. That'd be really cool. That's a good one to revisit. Aside from that, I don't know. Maybe try to do a better Blur from Studio Series 86. I wasn't a fan of the first time around. And then Galvatron. I mean, let's be real. Galvatron, 86 Galvatron. I'll start with those for sure. Those are some for sure. I mean, a lot of the other ones were pretty good. I have no complaints, to be honest, about all the others. Um, it's something whenever a studio series kind of miss the boat, I just go, they'll do better when they do a masterpiece. And usually the masterpiece does knock it out of the park. So that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, definitely the two main baddies from Bumblebee movie. The especially Dropkick, he got the low end of the stick on that one. Uh Jake with the $5 super chat. How quickly are all the Studio Series 86 Constructicons going to be released? And is a complete Devastator going to be revealed tomorrow? The belief is it's going to be a complete reveal tomorrow of Devastator. Nate even said at New York Comic Con during the panel, they're going to make a insane effort to make sure that the distribution for the individual pieces will all be in one shot and easy to get. And if somehow one limb ends up getting like lagging behind, they're going to make sure they make up for it. The exact quote was, "We don't want a breakdown situation," meaning because breakdown was really tough to get when they finally finished Menasor. So they want to make it that like, yeah, everyone will be able to get all those limbs and it won't be difficult. So that's how I see it. And I think they're going to do all the limbs because I mean to go like here's Bone Crusher, here's Hook, here's and here's I don't know, let me think of like one like so I'm trying to think of like how they would separate and Mixmaster. Like we're going to show you actually no. We're going to show you the leg, the arm and like the chest, but we're not going to show you how they combine. We'll only show you 3 of them. No, they're going to show all of them, you know. They'll show all of them, you know. Uh, where are we at here? But thank you for the super chat. Fonhard 2000 Target World Collide box set. That's what it was. I'm looking over at them. I'm just trying because I've now put them all together minus Venom, who doesn't exist yet, outside of a small Waspinator repaint. I put them all together because I mean everyone wanted deluxe Insecticons. Long overdue. Triple Changer Drift. Yeah, that's another one also. Yeah, you could do that as a leader. Yeah, that's why there's a few. There's a few. There's a few. Prince of Phalanx 59 with the YouTube member comment and or question. That Studio Series Ape Link looks pretty good. I like it. I mean, but I'm going to keep them in beast mode though. I'll be real. I'm going to keep it in beast mode just to kind of like be true to what's on the screen cuz I had a theory that if we got one masterpiece from Rise of the Beast, it would be Optimus Primal. We never ended up getting that masterpiece at all. We didn't get a single masterpiece out of that movie. So I was like, well, if we get a masterpiece Optimus Primal, for sure we'll get the retool Ape Link sooner or later. And well, we never got the Primal. So this will be my apex perfect uh Ape Link movie figure until they do something better, and I'll just keep it in beast mode. But yeah, we are past the main mark. I'll take one or two more questions and then we will call it quits for tonight. Yes, sir. I don't know why all combiners are not the same size. Devi is always way bigger now. You know what? It's you get into the semantics of you know, construction vehicles in theory should be bigger than cars, but then jets technically should be bigger than construction vehicles. I mean, if if Silverbolt is a Concorde jet, or if Blastoff is a space shuttle, they should be ridiculously massive compared to everybody, in comparison. But scale G1, and because Devastator was the first and he gets all the love and attention, they wouldn't want to take a risk on a Titan class on a, I don't know. I don't know, they did it with Predaking and that didn't sell very well. So and that's why you never saw that mold ever again. Although it would be cool if they reissued it, give people another opportunity, but you know, T-Formers 2002. I'm super hyped for Devastator tomorrow. I'll be rocking that Constructicon shirt during TFcon. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I'll definitely be doing a segment tomorrow, Sunday, because we won't be having, you guys won't have a Sunday segment you won't have a Friday segment from me. You probably won't have a live stream on Saturday. So I'm going to try to fill this week with as much as possible to make up for my absence because of TFCon. But if you're at TFCon, then you just see my dumb face there. So, but we are done more or less for the night while I massage the cat brain. But thank you everyone for tuning in today and all the awesomeness. Again, maybe before we go, no, you know what? I think we're more or less done for the night. But thank you again for everything. Thank you again. The big reveal of our exclusive, which I'll maybe post the commercial as an individual video on the podcast later this week too. But otherwise, thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you at Baltimore. Otherwise, go check out Aaron Archer's live stream that he did yesterday talking about John Warden. That's it, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. Once again, if you want to support the podcast, again, we have that Patreon link down there in the description. If Patreon is not your thing, we have the YouTube join button, which is those beautiful green names on the side. Aside from that, thank you again, and I hope to see you once again. Like I'm saying before, I sound like a broken record. I hope to see you at Baltimore, and we'll rock out with the Robots in Disguise in person. Take care, have fun, and as always, roll out.